Hi, welcome to the Kiwi and Scooter podcast.
I'm Kiwi.
And I'm Scooter, and today we have a wonderful guest, Alex Lindberg.
Hello.
Alex is a poet, and Alex is also the owner of the Instagram account Nice License Plate.
I was hoping you would bring that up, actually.
That's probably the greatest Instagram account I know of.
Thank you.
My favorite ones have been mine, of course, because I'm great, but the Oh Fudge one.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was actually funny. My boss came in and gave that one to me. So I get submissions from a whole bunch of different people who follow it.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite so far?
Probably I'm Sexy.
I'm Sexy, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one. My friend Alexa submitted that one. I'm surprised. I don't know. Some people told me that they were surprised that one was allowed. I don't know. Maybe if little kids saw it, they're like, what does that mean if they had never heard that word before? But
yeah, I don't know. Do they have hard and fast rules with what's allowed on license plates?
I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research on it, but I feel like it just has to be, the 7 or 8 characters it is, and it would be fine.
And do you accept submissions from anyone?
Oh, yeah, of course. My DMs are always open if you want to submit anything.
So, I will leave a link in the description. If you ever are around and you see a good license plate, send it that way because they will go to a good home.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to get a vanity plate that seems like it might say something but doesn't actually mean anything.
Oh, so people just try to decode it.
Yeah, so they spend time trying to think of what it might mean, but it's just random letters.
Yeah.
It might cause accidents though, but
I find myself doing that quite frequently when I'm on the road and
Looking for them?
Yeah, looking for them, and there was one I said roulette 2, and I was for 5 minutes, I was like, what the hell is roulette 2? And then I finally realized it was, are you late too?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was actually kind of funny. I've always been trying to pick out license plates. When I was probably 8 or 9 years old, I spent the whole summer keeping a mental note of all the vanity plates. And I think I had over 200 or 300, just in Boise. And so it's always just been kind of something that I've just thought of, I guess.
Very strange hobby.
Yeah, I know.
I used to have a friend who would steal, not license plates, but street signs of his friends' names and then gift them to them.
I mean, that's thoughtful.
Also, I think of federal crime.
Yeah.
At one point my friend had a state street sign, which that's a high profile.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
All right, so you're a poet. What else do you do? You're a student, right?
Yeah, I'm a student. I go to College of Western Idaho. I'm just in my 2nd semester. I like it so far. I took a year off of high school, which I really needed. So I'm just kind of exploring right now. Probably do something with social work.
Cool.
Later on. Yeah.
That's very similar to what we did. You didn't take a year off, but then you dropped out and took a couple years off.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
And I took a bunch of years off. And I think I'm on my 3rd semester.
Right.
So
you are.
about the same as you probably. Are you doing 2nd year English and then
Yeah, I'm in English 102 right now.
So is Michael.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, I feel like nothing can compare to the instructor that I had last semester because she was just so amazing. But
in a good way?
Yeah.
You're being sincere.
Yeah, she's really great. Nicole,
I didn't know that English 101 professors could be good. I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, Nicole Lefevre is really nice. So she's great.
I have a really cool teacher from, I'm taking a Comm 271 class, which is Intro to Media, and he worked as a TV news anchor for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And then he got his master's at Boston Conservatory for opera. So he has the most amazing voice.
Yeah.
He has a TV voice plus an opera voice, and so it's just listening to him talk is just so soothing. But he's really really dramatic, and the other day he just was talking about current events, and he was just like writing on the board, and then he turned around and he'd just written shithole countries on the board, and we were talking about Trump and stuff, but it was just like, oh, the teacher just wrote shithole countries on the board.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah. My English 102 teacher right now, he has no filter. There are swear words flying out of his mouth left and right, which, I don't know, for me, it kind of like screams unprofessionalism in kind of a way. Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I appreciate it if it's
if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, as someone who appreciates the language and does a lot of poetry, do you find English classes in college frustrating or invigorating?
Sometimes they can be frustrating because there are limitations on what I can write, and with the poetry that I write, it's just my own work and my own words, and no one's there to really critique it. And with the essays and stuff, there are certain guidelines that you have to follow, and people are trying to give you like structural advice and everything like that. So there is, of course, less freedom, which makes it a little bit harder because then I actually have to like put effort into what I write, and I have to write it for somebody else. With the poetry, it's only for myself, and I don't have to worry about what the audience thinks or what kind of grade that it's necessarily going to receive.
It always seems a little counterintuitive with English in school because there's always so many rules.
Yeah.
And then in the real world, especially in like the creative parts of like writing, there's not really any rules. Even as long as you're grammatically correct and you spell everything correctly. I mean, there's been some absolutely absurdist, weird poets who have gotten insanely successful.
Yeah.
But then in school, it's a little disheartening sometimes when you work hard on something and then you get it back with
definitely
all these criticisms. And
I think with any creative endeavor, like that was kind of, even like taking art classes in high school, it was like, it's hard when a teacher grades like a painting that you do, or it's like, I put a lot of time into this, and it's like, how's the teacher going to grade this?
Oh, definitely. I had that struggle with my art teacher in high school. I was her student for 3 years, and I really looked up to her, and I liked all the work that she did, but I had my own style, and she didn't necessarily understand it. And so when I got critiques back from her, I always took it super personally.
Yeah.
Because
how can you not?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a fine line between doing what you want, but also trying to get a passing grade.
Yeah.
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 Art school is weird, and like art classes are weird because I don't really think that creativity is something that can necessarily be taught.
Oh, definitely.
I think it's more like a journey that you need to take yourself on and grow. And it's always certainly very heartbreaking when like a teacher will totally shit on something that you poured your soul into.
Yeah, that happened to me a few times. Definitely a victim of that in high school a lot.
Same. I failed drawing.
Yeah, really?
It's the only class I've ever failed. Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother has the same drawing teacher that I had in high school at Rocky Mountain, and he's like maybe gonna get a B in the class, and I was like, well, I got an A.
Yeah.
He's like, well, thanks. Like I work really hard on my projects, and it's like, it's hard,
Yeah, art's really arbitrary. I mean,
Yeah.
there's really no like correct way to grade it, and I hate grading anything that someone put their all into. It shouldn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Well, like, there's plenty of art that I think sucks. Like, I think it's just objectively bad art.
Yeah.
And then the person who did it has made millions of dollars. So obviously I'm wrong. Like,
Rothko.
Dude, I love Rothko. Are you familiar with Rothko?
I think so.
He's the guy that just painted like squares.
The squares.
He's
I actually
just-
really like those. I've seen those in person, and they're actually really great. I don't know. Like last year, I went through this whole phase where I really liked contemporary art, and that's the kind of art that is. And I just like found a new appreciation for it. Probably the laziness.
I love it. It's like they're trolling the people buying it. It's like they're
Yeah.
So Rothko, he's like famous for he like if you bought one of his paintings, like if you won it at an auction, he would like come up to you and he'd be like, well, where are you gonna put my painting? And you'd have to show him like your house and the wall that you were gonna put it up on. And if he didn't like the space, even if you were gonna pay $20 million for the painting, he'd be like, I don't like your house.
Oh,
I
would
don't
he
like that
revoke
wall.
it?
And he'd be like, no, you can't buy my painting.
Oh no! What a douche.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a total
He's
douche.
a total douche
Amazing.
about it, yeah. And like Jackson Pollock, like
Oh, I love Jackson Pollock.
Jackson
I don't know
Pollock.
know enough about his personal life.
Jackson
I don't really know
Pollock
any
is
personal-
a terrible person. He had a wife who was a painter too, and he was really jealous of her success, so he pushed her down the stairs and broke her painting arm.
No.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on artists who are shitty people?
They.
Should you respect
Yeah.
the art
Should
for the
you
artist?
separate the artist from the art?
I don't think so. I feel like if the artist is inherently like a not good person, then you shouldn't support what they create, because I feel like that's inevitably supporting them, especially with like music and stuff like that.
Well, music, it seems like, is, especially with like lyrically driven music,
Yeah.
not like talking about like Beethoven or some like classical music, but with lyrically driven music, I mean, it's gonna inherently be like really personal.
Yeah.
And if you find out that that person is a shitty person, that like kind of, I don't know if it completely ruins it for me, but it definitely damages it.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. Because you know that they don't have like good intentions, and like what their actions, like what they have done, may like counteract their lyrics
Yeah.
sometimes, and that can be kind of heartbreaking.
Especially because, I mean, recently, like the whole like Warped Tour kind of scene that was like popular when we were kids.
Yeah.
A lot of the singers are like turning out to be like huge assholes who like manipulate young girls.
Yeah.
and
No thanks.
Yeah.
No
It's
thanks.
like, it seems like every week there's a new story coming out.
Yeah.
And especially with like some of the bands that like I really admire, like the Beatles and the Who, like they've done some pretty shitty, undefensible things.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it all the way.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard.
It is hard. Yeah. I don't know enough about those bands to defend the artists. But
Oh, it's indefensible.
yeah.
What they've done. The Who, it has child pornography
Oh my
scandals,
God.
and John Lennon like definitely like was pretty abusive to his first wife.
No thanks.
And speaking of Beethoven, apparently Beethoven was an asshole too,
Oh yeah.
which is a bummer.
What did he do?
I don't remember. I don't want to like
Yeah.
accidentally like falsely say like Beethoven like was an asshole.
Well, the one that I always think about is Quentin Tarantino, right? Like everybody loves Quentin Tarantino movies, and there's a famous story of when they're filming *Inglourious Bastards*. There's a scene where like the hot blonde chick gets strangled to death by Christoph Waltz, and like apparently when they were filming the movie, he was like, "Oh no, you're not doing it right. It's not realistic enough." And Quentin Tarantino was like, "I'm gonna do it." And so if you notice in the movie, like in the scene where she's getting choked to death, they cut off the head of the person that's doing the choking to death because it's actually
Oh,
Tarantino
yeah, because
doing
it was. Yeah.
And he choked her so hard that she actually had to go to the hospital,
Oh my God.
and she couldn't talk for 3 days afterward.
What a creep.
And like that just shows like a certain like weirdness
Yeah.
in his like personality, and it definitely like kind of taints like his movies for me. And there's like other stuff about him that, you know, it's kind of like, oh
Yeah. The only thing I know about him is that he has a foot fetish, supposedly.
yeah. yeah. Yeah.
It's weird though, because like when you watch the movie, like I definitely like Quentin Tarantino's movies, and it like is an enjoyable experience, but like you know that they're a shitty person. You know if you pay for the movie that's money's directly going to them, so you almost feel like personally responsible for them reaching a higher status.
Yeah.
Just pirate the movie.
Yeah.
So we're here to tell you that everything's bad and that everyone is evil.
That's the message of our podcast today.
So do you do mostly slam poetry?
Yeah. Yeah. I started slam poetry February of 2017, so it'll be almost a year.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, they had a Valentine's Day thing. I just saw the event on Facebook, thank God. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. But then, so I did slam poetry all that year, and then I did the Death Rattle Writers Festival also.
Ooh.
That was in Nampa. I can't remember what month that was in. I think it was in the fall.
We need to get back to a slam poem thing. We used to
Yeah.
go to a lot, and then we hosted one. How long ago?
That was a while ago, like
6 or 7 months ago. We hosted one. We need to host another one.
Oh, okay.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, through what organization was it?
Oh, just ourselves at the Hive.
At the
Oh,
Hive,
okay.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
the
nice.
And we were gonna do it like a weekly thing, but it kind of slipped away. The slam poetry night was like the most popular thing we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
People
people
liked
got
it.
angry though. I don't know how I
People
feel.
got very competitive.
What,
Oh.
What's your opinion on the like competitive aspect of slam poetry?
Well, with Big Tree Arts, the organization that I attend through, they actually compete for National Poetry Slam, which
Right.
is like, every state meets and they do like a huge one and it's a big deal. I feel like that should be a goal to want to go to NPS, but it shouldn't be the only reason why you do slam poetry. That's not the reason I do it. People tell me that I should go to NPS, but that's not one of my goals necessarily. I just do it because I like sharing what I write, and I like hearing what other people have to say, and I like their impact, and just like the whole community of it is really nice also. So it's been like a good creative outlet for me.
It seems like with slam poetry, like I don't know how I feel about it being so competitive.
Yeah.
Because it seems, I don't know, it just seems wrong. Like it seems like the same thing I hate about Battle of the Bands type organizations is the same thing I don't like about some of the more popular. It just, I don't know what the criteria is for what they're judging. And sometimes I just feel like they're playing favorites. And this is coming from third-person perspective. Like, I don't participate at all.
Yeah. They definitely try to get unbiased voters. So, like, if people, like, you can't be in love with this person because then you're going to give them a higher vote because, you're obsessed with them. So they try to get new people who have never gone to a slam before, that way that it's, an equal playing field. But they also do a sacrificial poet in the beginning, which is one that the judges get to judge as like the baseline, like, okay, this is usually like what the poems are going to sound like, this is what's expected, so they kind of get a feel for what it's going to be like before that they start.
I remember that they asked me to be a judge once, but you were reading a poem. This was one of our very first dates ever.
One of our first dates, we went to a Big Tree Arts,
and we had never even kissed, maybe kissed once, and the guy comes up to us and he's like, "Are you fucking her?" And I was like,
oh my God.
He's like, "Do you want to be fucking her?" And I was like, yeah, we haven't really talked about that. He's like, "Okay, you can't be a judge."
Yeah.
I was like, wow, thanks for coming over and ruining this date for me.
Yeah.
And I got second place. Holla at you, girl.
Damn, look at you. I've only ever gotten third. But that's okay. I don't know. Sometimes the scoring kind of does bum me out just because there is that competitive aspect.
Right.
But it's always a fun time.
It just seems so arbitrary where they do, like, some people are a 7 or some people are an 8. When I, like, hear both poems, I'm like, well, they're really good in their own way. Like,
and sometimes the poems are so, like, different. Yeah. Is it time to take a break for a poem?
Yeah, we're going to take a break and we are going to hear a poem. What is the title of this one?
Okay, I have it on my Google Docs. Let me open it up. This one's called Orange Juice.
Ooh, orange juice. Are you a fan of pulp or no pulp?
Medium pulp. How about
medium
that?
Medium pulp.
Okay.
Coming for you, Middle America. All right.
This one's called Orange Juice. The tip of my nose is cold in the refrigerator section of the grocery store. I'm staring at the orange juice. I stare at the orange juice for so long that it begins to look like your hair. I can feel your sandpaper stubble against my face at 2 a.m. Driving home in a daydream probably isn't the safest thing to do, but loving you isn't either. I imagine spying on you, listening from a different room, tying my laces slower on purpose. You're playing the piano. And I realize that I'm anchored too late. Dead weight with you, light trying to peek through the floral curtains of your parents' bedroom. Somehow I knew this would happen. Now I have not seen you in 28 days. 28 days of pouring 2 cups of coffee. I drink yours for you. Wearing rubber boots that are too small on my feet similarly feels like my neck being broken when you hug me. It feels like constant adjusting to hopefully get it right this time. It feels like the pressure. It feels like chest compression that is designed for fatality. Tonight I'm wearing a sleep shirt from Goodwill, and I wonder if the woman who had it before me slept next to anyone. If she ever shared anything so small that it filled up the whole room. If someone searched for the pulse in her wrist when she didn't hit the snooze button. Tomorrow I am missing you. The day after that, I am missing you. The day after that, I thought I got a text from you, but it was just Sprint telling me that my bill was ready. The day after that, I'm a bird that flies full speed into a glass window. Right now I am picking dried blood from my ears, and I wonder how you put it there. You were holding my tender heart right out in front for me to see, and I let you.
And we are back. Man, that was an amazing poem.
Thank you.
So I know that you go to a lot of local shows around the area because I've seen you at shows plenty of times before. So what are you into, kind of like on a very general level? What type of music are you listening to?
Like a day-to-day basis, usually like lo-fi indie rock is what's on my playlist. Some like not like electronic, but like indie pop type stuff.
Totally.
Recently I've been listening to Porches, Sneaks. Porches has a new release today, which is awesome. Sneaks, they are like a lady electro pop band. I also really like Chastity Belt.
That's a good band name.
Yeah, they're great. I saw them at Treefort last year.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're a Seattle band. They're really nice. And then I like some Riot Girl bands. Really, Mommy Longlegs is the only one that I know.
I like the OG Riot Girl band. I like Bikini Kill a lot.
Oh, I don't know them. I'll have to listen.
Bikini Kill is super cool. But
Yeah.
then the singer Kathleen Hanna came out and she started this other band called La Tigre who were really popular.
Yeah.
And then they broke up, and then they had this long-awaited comeback, and she comes back and releases this awful song about Hillary Clinton called I'm With Her.
Oh,
And
no.
It's so cringy.
It's a cringe factory.
I don't know if I've ever heard a song in relation to politics, especially like current politics,
It's weird in the current political climate. I haven't heard any music, at least from white people. There's been some good rap music.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's come out.
Yeah.
I think rap music is just so much more culturally significant right now than like rock or.
Oh, yeah, because they're not afraid to like say what is real,
I also think it's the platform is easy to make music as a rapper. So like the fact that anyone can do it, that means that there's a lot of competition, and I think it's making people like rise up above each other, and I think it's really making some cool, interesting music.
There's a really good rap song called "Fuck Donald Trump."
Who's that by?
I forget. The streamer Soul Controller used to play it on the stream every night.
It was funny. I love that
It's
song.
really good. One of the lyrics was like, "Donald Trump hates Mexicans, but some of my best friends are Mexicans." It's so good. Oh my god,
I don't know
so
if
good.
it's possible to write a good political song right now.
I think that it's hard to write a good political song right now that's not like at least partially in jest. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to be like totally serious. Like you gotta.
There has to be like some humor aspect to it.
Yeah. Like you gotta because I feel like Donald Trump in of himself is so ridiculous.
It's easy to make jokes about him.
Yeah, like and I don't know if this is a good way to look at it, because the threat of him might actually like someday be very real. But like as of right now, like nothing actually terrible has happened. Like he's just like this.
It's like this mean guy.
He's just like this like dumb, senile, mean old guy, like rich white dude who like doesn't really know what he's doing and is just like fumbling around in the presidency, like not actually getting anything done, but like not creating any like actual huge problems so far.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like funny, like he like had sex with a porn star now, and like
Oh yeah, I read about that.
yeah, and it's
Yuck.
it's all like it's just kind of like
reality TV comedy.
yeah, like it's
Well, he was
like,
a reality TV star to begin with, so he knows what he's doing to generate publicity
yeah,
still.
but it's all just like ridiculous. And so I think that to try to like to make it seem like it's like, oh, we gotta fight back against the threat, like it just seems so like overbearing and just like ugh, like it's like calm down. Like if North Korea nukes us, then it's gonna be like, oh shit, okay, back up. But like as of right now, it's just like this ridiculous thing happened where a reality TV star got elected president, and it's hilarious. And
whoa, you just went real anti-Trump. This is the most political I've seen you get in like the last 4 months.
I don't know. I've been going to college for a little bit, so.
The liberal professors are getting to your head.
Yeah, but I think when people try to make it really serious, it ends up being kind of cringy.
Yeah.
But when people kind of like joke about it, and it's like, I think if you want to make it a little more serious, I think that if anything he's done is actually dangerous, he's allowed like bigoted rhetoric to become more mainstream, which is actually a bad thing. And it might actually be dangerous and might actually be like real. Might actually be a real thing that he's done. If we're going to get serious for a second.
Well, music may not be going that direction, but poetry for sure has always been very politically motivated.
Yeah.
Ever since I've been going to slam poetry, it's
slams,
always
yeah.
been very political in every sense of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how people choose to express themselves in a safe environment, because usually there are people with like ideas in the audience, or their friends are there and they all kind of have the same idea, so it's a safe space to express those feelings, and they might get some criticism, but overall it's a general idea.
I feel like it's a pretty safe environment. No,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
gonna like be that controversial. Maybe if you went in there and did like a super alt-right poem, then everyone would turn on you.
Bad news.
Yeah.
Bad news. Don't do it.
But if you're like a liberal poet,
Yeah.
your audience is probably going to be on your side about most of the stuff you're saying.
Definitely.
That would be pretty funny though if they like did that. You'd have to have some serious balls.
Yeah. They would not be allowed back. Definitely.
Man,
No.
that's brutal. So we were talking earlier about slam poetry, and Kaylee kind of stopped going to slam poems, and she kind of had she's had a disheartened approach to the whole kind of scene.
Okay.
I feel like, if anything, it's become a little bit too political for me, where I kind of write poetry to be more like personal narratives.
Yeah.
And more like personal stories, and that's what I like to hear from other people. Like, I love when people write about like something they're going through, like
like personal struggles.
Yeah,
and
like
everything
personal
that.
struggles, or like day-to-day life stuff, or like just very like almost like mundanity, and I think that when it becomes like, I feel not to like disparage on like what people are writing about, but I feel like when I go to slams, the poetry is all very similar, and I feel like I hear the same kind of motifs over and over again, and it kind of becomes a little bit
Played out?
Yeah, like a little bit played out for me, where I hear like the same themes over and over again, and it's like, okay, I've heard this poem before from a million different people. And it's like, I want to see it change a little more for me to feel like more invested. I want to see like people start doing different stuff.
Is there like a certain topic that you would like to see more of?
I want to see like,
I know that you said like day-to-day life type things, but I feel like sometimes, just for an example, like if a person of color faces discrimination, like that is part of their day-to-day life. So that would be kind of like hard not to address. And I know that there are a lot of like poets who are people of color, and they write about that just because it's what they experience. But
I've heard a lot of really good poems come out of like a lot of the ones that are like popular on Facebook.
Yeah.
Are people of color, like you said, and also like people who will like have like a mental illness or a disability or something that they do wrap it into their day-to-day life, and they're able to like kind of tackle the political climate while like bringing themselves into it. I think those are the ones that are really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's how people like kind of evolve it into something different.
Yeah, I think
You think?
I think like a lot of the poetry that I read, like that I enjoy in terms of like literature wise, is stuff that maybe is more about like nature, or like the human condition, or
I do not agree
The
with
boring-
that. I hate nature poetry.
The boring stuff.
yeah, where I I would like to see it like smattered in there or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I feel like it doesn't have to all be like a movement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that might not be a very popular opinion.
No, that's probably very unpopular.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. That definitely
Yeah.
makes sense. I know that at Death Rattle, they had a lot of different types of writing and stuff like that. They had it kind of grouped into different categories, and there was actually one that was similar to what you're talking about, like the nature aspect of it and like the human condition. And it was great. It was great writing. It was great to listen to it. But I agree. I feel like slam poetry is kind of like the same thing. Mostly, like, you know what to expect when you're going to a slam event.
But isn't that part of also what makes it good, though? Is
Yeah.
Like, you want it to be somewhat predictable, and you want it to be familiar, but you also want it to be creative and explore a new direction.
Yeah, definitely.
What type of poets are you into? Like, who are some of your favorites?
Well, locally or just
Sure,
like in
locally,
general?
Famous poets?
Just in general. Famous one, probably Sabrina. I can't remember what her last name is, but she did the one explaining depression to my mother.
Okay, I've seen
and
that.
so that was through Button Poetry. And she does a lot of great things like that along the same lines about like depression and anxiety and loneliness also, because that's something that I like have a really hard time dealing with, because I feel lonely, but then I also go out by myself, so I'm like surrounded by other people technically, but I'm also by myself and I'm not forced to have a conversation with anyone. So she has a good one where she explains her loneliness in a grocery store, and I've just like been in that exact same situation, so it's great to relate to that. Locally, I really like Cheryl Madalena. She's an older gal, and she's been doing slam poetry for I don't know how many years, a lot, probably like close to 15 or 20. And she writes poems about like real life. She wrote a poem about going to the gynecologist office and about taking her kids to the zoo and on a safari trip and everything like that. And she uses a lot of the like proper literature techniques, like the literary techniques. And I've noticed that with slam poetry, mostly it's just people telling a story with a few breaks and a few metaphors or a simile or maybe a rhyme. And it's not really that like literarily exploratory, I guess. People aren't getting into the dynamics of it as much anymore. I feel like I guess it's just evolving into that, but that's also something that I'm trying to challenge myself with, is like style and what kind of poetry I write. I'll read a haiku later that I wrote. Well, it's actually like a trilogy of haikus, but
very nice.
So yeah, I feel like going into the technicalities of it is also important, because otherwise it just becomes prose.
Yeah.
You know, people are just saying what they feel, but louder.
That's very cool. I like when people kind of evolve the genre by kind of going back on classic themes and like enforcing like what has worked in the past into creating something cool.
Yeah, not forgetting why it was made in the first place.
Yeah, but still taking it in a completely new direction.
Yeah.
I know for us, one of the reasons like that we want to do podcasts is because we want to just kind of get to know people in the community a little better.
Yeah, definitely.
And to like promote other artists around here. So it's been very interesting to meet people that do other art, and we like to talk about like the process of writing and the creative process. So where do you get your inspiration from? Like, how do you start a poem?
Usually I'll just do like free writing, and then I will like later cut out the bits that I really liked that I thought were like powerful personally, and then I'll try to add some of the literary aspects of it. Like I'll try to, be comparative and use metaphors and similes and stuff like that. And actually I've written a few poems where I've just taken out tweets that I've put on the internet and I've just like made it into a poem.
That's
Nice.
cool. I
Yeah,
like
yeah. Of course, like, tweaking it a little bit so it flows and makes sense.
Yeah.
But I tried to involve that because Twitter is just like an emotional like dumpster for me all of
Oh,
the
yeah.
time.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, you know that. You.
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I love Twitter for that very reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh, well, that would sound good if it had like more context around it. So I kind of like build a story around that, but it's still personal.
What do you mean by when you say free writes? Like, what's your strategy for doing a free write?
I don't know, just like pen and paper. If I've had like a hard day or if I'm thinking about a lot of stuff, I'll just write about
Just
it.
literally
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah. Just like my emotions at the minute, pretty much.
That's a good idea. And
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually, like, done that.
Oh, it's really good. You should
I mean,
do
that's
it.
kind of it. I know I've kind of had a dry spell with writing, but that's the only way that I write. It's just, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's just like an emotional dump,
Yeah, you just sit down and write.
You got to see it
The
for
only
me.
free write I've ever done is, like, the beginning of English class.
Yeah, for an assignment.
in,
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. I kind of will do the same thing, but almost like talking out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I don't do well with writing on paper.
Yeah.
It looks like shit when I do it too.
You could type.
I can't do that. That's even worse.
Oh, okay.
That's like the
That's
computer.
hand-eye coordination. Like
Michael
that's
doesn't use
yeah.
home row.
I don't use home row. I type with my fingers.
He types with his fingers.
Oh,
like this.
wow.
It's terrible. It's embarrassing.
You failed like tech class in high school,
yeah.
junior high, yeah.
I think it was called keyboarding. Keyboarding
Right.
1. Yeah, that was
Right.
bad.
No thanks.
Dude, I did so good at keyboarding that I finished the whole class early and got to watch music videos on whatever
Wow, look at you.
whatever
Kiwi.
website you watched music videos on way before YouTube was a thing.
Oh, the only website that I knew was YouTube. I didn't know any other ones that had videos on them.
This
Well, I
is
think you're a
before-
couple of years younger than us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is before YouTube was a thing.
YouTube came
Yeah.
out when we were like 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
It changed everything.
Yeah.
But when I was like 9 and 10, we had to go to like mtv.launch.com to watch
Yeah.
music videos.
And like there was not like a search function. Like
No.
Yeah.
there's no search.
You
like,
could
just
watch
had
like
to,
2 videos from Blink-182, 3 from Simple Plan,
Oh, it
Linkin
was just
Park.
it was already set up.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was like just links that were on the front of the website. Yeah.
So it was yeah.
You just had to click through them.
Our
Wow.
subscribers are going to call us old.
I'm gonna call you old. You guys are old.
Yeah.
I found out recently that I'm too old to play college sports.
Wow, how does that make you feel?
I was going to play football next year. I was going to be the new quarterback for the Broncos.
Wow.
But apparently it's too late for that. My
Yeah.
eligibility is up. All right, well, we're going to do another poem now.
Okay. This is called My iPhone's a Haiku Trilogy. iPhone 4. I am loving this. 13 with a shiny brick. Anonymous messages. iPhone 5. You want my number? I have 3 boyfriends. One skates. .tumblr.com. iPhone 7. Your cracked screen. Pretty. Dislike for the internet. I want my 5 back. What 20 feels like so far. So far, 20 feels like this. So far, 20 feels like dyeing my hair brown to forget you're blonde. When you're 2,000 miles away from me, I can still feel your fingerprints on the hole in my heart. So far, 20 feels like talking to the sales associate for a little too long at Target. They can see it, your loneliness on one sleeve, your heart on the other, hoping to find something, but you only find yourself before too many clocks. You can see time physically passing in front of you, and your heart tenses, and you think, oh my God, what am I doing? So far, 20 feels like wondering if why they said they still wanted to be friends, why haven't they asked to see you first? Wondering if that makes you sound selfish, to want to be happy, and that makes you wonder if you will ever laugh with them again. If you knew when the last time would have been, would you have cherished it a little bit more? A red rose with too many spikes on its stem, always trying to protect herself, but you will bloom again someday. I am a perennial. You are a perennial. So far, 20 feels like staring into some type of screen for 15 hours a day. I wish it were the screen door that leads to the lake in Michigan. I miss the smell of pine radiating through my nerves, the sight of emerald green stretching for miles, the slimy rocks under my feet, testing me just like you did. So far, 20 feels like trying to write a paper for 6 hours, but you keep getting distracted, off track. You stand up dizzy, drink cold milk, look out at the gray sky, and wearing your dead grandmother's university sweater gives you hope that you can finish this paper. But so far, 20 feels like a movie, but not in the way that you think. My movie life is the scene of the girl who is alone, driving at night, a black sky, it's raining, her favorite song is playing, streetlights crossing her swollen, teary, puffy-eyed face. So far, 20 feels like my insides are braided with lavender and barbed wire, a type of beauty that only I can feel. The last time I was in Flying M was with you before you left, and I'm not sure I will be able to go back there anytime soon, at least not without viciously scanning every seat to make sure that your striped t-shirt isn't looking for my striped t-shirt.
We are back. Yes. I hope that you have had a good time watching this. I know we have had a very good time filming this. We need to pick our special green screen background.
Ooh.
So far we have had penguins, turtles climbing up onto the beach.
Okay.
Baby turtles.
Jordan did that dog and the Brazilian guy dancing.
Was it moving the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do
videos, yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I'll do like a bowling alley because I'm like really obsessed with bowling lately. I don't know why, but
I do love bowling too.
We should
Yeah.
go bowling sometime.
Okay.
We have the Boise State Bowling Alley right here.
Is that free for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Oh, it's not. It's not free. It's like $3.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's free.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that we're students.
Are you a fan of The Big Lebowski?
Who's that?
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
That was
you're
my
gonna
shocked
come,
reaction.
You're gonna come hang out with us. We're gonna
Okay.
watch The Big Lebowski, and then we're gonna go bowling.
Okay.
It's a very famous movie that I have no
I mean,
idea
I've heard of that.
you escaped watching.
I've heard of that, but my family wasn't a big like movie watching thing.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Honestly, like my family, I grew up Mormon, so my family didn't watch R-rated movies.
Right.
So I escaped watching like a ton of
good movies.
good movies.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch The Big Lebowski until I was really a lot older, also. So
Okay.
It's literally
don't feel too bad.
It's
Okay.
about a dude that loves bowling who gets his rug stolen from him.
Like a rug in his house?
Yeah.
Like a
Okay.
rug. It
Okay.
really ties the room together.
Yeah,
so.
that's the whole movie. But it's very artistic. It's done by the Coen brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You might have seen like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? They're really good directors.
Yeah. They're now the Coen brother and sister.
Oh, okay.
Oh really?
Isn't that?
I didn't know that.
That's right? Am I thinking of a different brothers that one got a gender?
I don't know. It might be the Coen brothers. Remember last time we had an argument and we looked something up?
And
You were wrong.
I know. I thought that like the Harry Potter movies were filmed in Hollywood,
Oh.
and they're not.
No.
They were filmed like in the UK.
Are you a Harry
Who
Potter
would've-
fan?
Who would have thunk it?
No, not really.
even the books?
No. My father thought that it was evil when I was younger.
Oh, really?
And so I was not allowed to read it or watch it, and that just stuck with me. I mean, I saw the second one at a friend's house, but you know, I wasn't really paying that much attention. So, plus the books were just too big for me. I didn't
Same.
really want to get through all that,
Yeah.
especially when there were 7 of them. It's kind of, I don't know.
I was like a really big Harry Potter fan. Like
Yeah.
I went to like the midnight release of movies 5 and on.
Okay.
I went to the midnight release of books 4 and on. I dressed up for all of them. I was dressed up so good I got on the news.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like
Big time.
way
Way
big
too.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be nerdy about something. What are you nerdy about?
I don't.
You don't like
You're
read
just
like
you're just cool. You're just not a nerd. or anything.
you don't like read like comic books or like
No.
everyone's got like something nerdy. You play video games?
No. I write poetry.
Oh
I'm
man.
nerdy. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of books. I have a big like book collection, I guess.
But that's like cool. That's not nerdy.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Alex is just cool.
Yeah. Well, we have a cool person this time.
I don't. We have a lot of books, but I don't ever read them.
Yeah.
I like collect books that I've already read that I know that I like, and then I can like flip through them
Right.
and just kind of like end up anywhere in the book and be like, oh, I like this part.
Yeah,
You
I've
do
started.
a lot
Yeah,
of poetry books for that reason.
Yeah, I have a lot of poetry books.
yeah, I've started to go into like more like photo albums and like photo books, like coffee table books, kind of, and like magazine editorial type things that deal with like high fashion. I really liked that for a while last year. So, one of my favorite artists, her name is Molly Soda, and she made a book with Arvita Bystrom, and they asked people on Instagram to submit them like banned photos that they've had taken down by, you know, the people of Instagram who like monitor that kind of stuff. And so they chose like 300 pictures and put them in a book, and it's just like this book of scandal. It's amazing. It's
That's
great.
genius.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. The book is called Pixar It Didn't Happen. So,
Great title.
yeah.
They did that with the Vine book, but they're gonna get in a lot of trouble because they didn't credit the people who did the
Oh,
vines.
yeah, I heard about
It
that.
was like a poetry book, but with the
Yeah.
vines. Yeah, and it would say like road work ahead. I sure hope
I
so.
sure hope
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't credit the people. Have
Yeah.
you been to Powell's?
Yes, I have. Yeah. I went to Portland this past August, and I went to a few Powell's locations, and it was good. So.
Did you go to the Rare Book Room?
Oh, no, I didn't do that. That was something I was like, eh.
They have the
The Rare
original
Book Room
Bible.
is amazing.
Oh, my God.
No, they don't. Oh my God.
Jesus signed it himself.
Yeah, it was the Jesus version.
Okay, but what the Rare Book
He
Room?
even wrote some shit in between the lines.
It says being gay is fine, actually.
Go to page 44. Go to.
No, but the Rare Book Room does have is Lewis and Clark journals.
Oh, that's actually really
Yeah,
interesting.
which is really
That's
cool.
cool.
It has some really cool shit. I love Powell's.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Portland?
Yeah, I am. I really like it. I've been there twice this past summer, and then a few summers before that just with my aunt for a day or two. But I like it. I like the community. I feel like it's pretty similar to Boise, but just a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived in Portland for 6 months or so.
Oh, okay.
I love Portland. Almost to a fault. Like where
Is that
I'm-
like your second home?
No, like
No?
I've only been there a couple times.
Yeah.
But like I love like hipster stuff.
Yeah.
I love like the arcade games. I love Powell's. I love the weather. I'm a bad vegan, but I want to be a vegan.
Yeah.
We were vegan for a while, and then we fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
Michael was good today. That we went to Pita Pit, and he got a vegan pita.
That's good.
I did
I
not
like
get a
Pita
vegan
Pit. Yeah,
pita.
my boyfriend's vegan, and so it like whenever I visit him, it's like hard for me. I'm like, oh, now I have to be vegan too. I mean, I don't have to be, but
Yeah.
like I don't know. I
You're
can.
definitely gonna get like some judging eyes. if
I know.
you're,
I know.
like, eating steak or something.
Yeah. The first night that we were together, I actually did get steak nachos. I was like,
Ooh.
I'm sorry, but I have to do this.
Just has a heart attack.
Yeah.
Well, you're straight edge, right?
Yeah, I am.
We technically aren't straight edge because we eat nicotine lozenges.
Oh, okay.
Does
Yeah.
that count? We don't know the rules of straight edge.
It's pretty arbitrary.
Okay.
If we like,
yeah.
okay, so we used to do drugs, and
Yeah.
we got sober.
Mm-hmm.
Can we
then-
be in your clan? Can we be in your club? Can we be edge?
Yeah, you can claim edge. Yeah, you can.
I'm an edge lord. Like that's got to be worth something.
Yeah. But yeah, we eat nicotine lozenges because we quit smoking.
Well, how'd you get into the straight edge thing?
I've been like really deterrent of drugs and alcohol my whole life. Basically, I definitely fell into the scheme that they tell you in school where it's like, don't do this because you're gonna die, basically, and plus it's illegal. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to die and I don't want to go to jail, so I just won't do those things.
That's really good reasoning.
Yeah, and so I fell into that, but then, you know, both my parents had a history of drug and alcohol abuse, and I know that, like, it's genetically prone to happen to me, also my sister. And so I was like, well, you know, I feel like I don't need to use those things in order to have a happy life. So I just kind of taught myself that, and my mother taught me that also. And then I definitely felt like an outcast in high school because people would talk about, you know,
Well,
like
drinking and smoking pot were a big part of high school
in
culture,
general.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they would like tell me these stories, and I'm like, that sounds fucking horrible. Like, I don't want to do that.
And you guys thought this was fun?
I know. Like, okay. Like, I feel bad enough waking up in the morning sober. I can't imagine being hungover.
hungover, yeah.
So, yeah, then I met a lot of straight edge people here, and it's great, and I love all of them.
That's good.
Yeah.
You did like the exact opposite thing as us.
Yeah.
They taught us in school and we were like, they're probably full of shit.
Yeah.
We had to like do all the shit and then like realize, oh, they were right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I've made a huge mistake.
Well, do you find that it's hard to hang out like just at shows and stuff where there's like a lot of people drinking?
Not really, because I go to a lot of the hardcore shows actually, and it's ran by a whole bunch of straight edge people.
Yeah,
and
the hardcore scene's always been pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
And so it's like, bring your own alcohol, don't share it unless you want to. They are usually pretty good about underage drinking there. They like don't want it to happen.
Very
Mostly
true.
all the shows I went to when I was a teenager was all 28 and up year olds bringing booze and like 16-year-olds like
Be
getting
like,
free beer.
hello. Yeah.
It was very bad.
Yeah.
No, I think that the straight edge thing is super cool. I'm into it. I'm very pro straight edge.
Yeah.
I think that especially with a lot of like famous musicians that have kind of taken on the whole straight edge thing, they've really brought it to like a much larger scale. The hardcore scene is huge with straight edge.
Yeah.
Can't be a bad thing, especially with like the huge heroin epidemic that we have in America right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
It's
we
just
need
scary.
more stuff.
You know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone to go through that, so I'm trying to recruit as many people as I can.
You're like the Mormon. You're like the straight edge Mormon
Yeah.
missionary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just knocking on people's doors.
Yes.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Well, you hang out at. Do you live in Nampa?
No, I live in Boise off like Colon, Fairview.
But you go to.
Yeah, I travel out to Caldwell and Nampa for the shows. Yeah, because there's a lot of house venues out there,
Yeah.
and that's just where they happen. So.
And you go to CWI, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't go to the
commute?
Nampa campus.
Oh, okay.
I go to the.
That's why I assumed
Yeah.
you were in Nampa.
No, I lived in Nampa like part-time for a few years, but I would never live there full-time.
Yeah, Nampa's got a lot of cool stuff like the house shows.
Yeah, but that's it. You know, I'll just travel out there for that. I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nampa kind of has a weird smell.
It's the cheese factory.
It's the cheese, the sugar beets, and the cows.
Yeah.
Lots of cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I really like Nampa. I think that there's a lot of good house venues there because housing is really cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
Where in Boise, you'd have to be pretty wealthy to have like a house venue.
Yeah. My friend Lydia was talking about, you know the
I know her, I think.
Lydia Havens.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a local poet. You guys know like the Castle House on Warm Springs?
Yeah.
She was like, petition to make that a new punk house. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
We'll just everyone buy it. Like,
Yeah, just put in like $5. Be fine.
Everyone in the world puts in $5 and we can have it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's really fun. I love the house show culture. Do you do slam poems at some of the house shows?
I can't say that I've ever done that. I've definitely thought about it. I might have one time. I can't remember.
You should open for us sometime at a house show.
Please.
Yeah, we did a
We
a
have
house
poets.
show where I had a
We have
poet
poets
open for us.
open for us all the time.
Yeah,
It's-
that's really good. It's good to have like the mix of arts.
Yeah.
With that.
Especially when it's like the headlining band will be like a super loud or hardcore punk band.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the crowd will be worn out after one of those. So
Right.
you have slam poet warm up the crowd, and then
Yeah.
you have like us, which is we're a pretty low key act, and then everyone can rage for the final.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good platform.
Yeah, definitely.
I would be more than happy to have you open for us sometime.
Oh, thank you. I would love to do that.
Well, anything else? Any final thoughts?
I don't think so. I think this has been a really great time.
It has been, and we are the three hats. I am Beanie.
I'm also Beanie.
And I'm your cowgirl.
And what are we? The Kiwi and Scooter Podcast.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I know. Oh,